The auction house on Station Zenith 9 buzzed with activity. Hundreds of alien species filled the massive hall, their voices creating a symphony of clicks, hums, and growls. Marcus Chen stood near the back, feeling small among the crowd of towering creatures and floating energy beings. He was just a human salvage trader, looking for cheap spaceship parts to resell. This was his first time at a galactic auction, and everything around him screamed wealth and power. The crystalline Vexari reflected light from their geometric bodies as they examined holographic catalogs. Massive Quorum warriors, each standing 3 meters tall, crossed their 4 arms impatiently. Pleiadian merchants in flowing robes whispered to their AI assistants, calculating profits. Marcus checked his credit chip. 7 credits. That was all he had left after paying the entrance fee. He felt stupid for coming here, but curiosity had pulled him forward. Lot 846, sold to House Meridian for 42,000 credits, the auctioneer announced. The crowd applauded as a sleek patrol ship was wheeled away on an anti-gravity platform. Marcus watched as the next item emerged from the massive hangar doors. His breath caught. It was a spaceship, but not like the polished vessels that had been auctioned before. This one was huge, nearly twice the size of the previous ships. Its hull was dark, gray, covered in scorch marks, and dense. The armor plating looked thick and brutal, designed for war rather than elegance. Several panels were missing, exposing damaged internal systems. Lot 847, the auctioneer said, his tone shifting from enthusiastic to dismissive. A primitive human relic, recovered from the outer drift, approximately 200 years old, dating back to the Lost Colony Wars. Laughter rippled through the crowd. Marcus felt his face grow hot. Human technology. A Vexari near him said to its companion, its voice like wind chimes. How amusing. Their ships fall apart after a century. Starting bid, 1,000 credits, the auctioneer announced without enthusiasm. Silence filled the hall. No one moved. No one raised a paddle. The auctioneer waited, clearly embarrassed. Perhaps. 500 credits? More silence. A few aliens whispered and pointed at the damaged ship, making jokes Marcus couldn't quite hear, but could definitely imagine. Human junk, rumbled a Quorum warrior somewhere to his left. Not worth the scrap metal. Something snapped inside Marcus. He had spent 3 years working in space, seeing human colonies struggling, while aliens treated them like primitive children. He stared at that battered warship and saw something they didn't: history, sacrifice, and the stubborn human refusal to quit. His hand shot up. 7 credits. The entire hall turned to look at him. The silence was deafening. The auctioneer blinked its 3 eyes. I'm sorry, did you say? 7 credits? That's all I've got, Marcus said, his voice steadier than he felt. 7 credits for lot 847. Laughter erupted. Aliens pointed at him, their amusement clear in every language. A wealthy Pleiadian merchant named Lord Cassix, dressed in shimmering robes, looked at Marcus with something like pity mixed with contempt. 7 credits, Cassix said loudly, his voice dripping with mockery. How perfectly human. Throwing away money on garbage. The auctioneer looked around hopefully, waiting for a real bid. When none came, he sighed. Very well. Lot 847, sold to the human for 7 credits. Please see the payment desk. Marcus paid his 7 credits and received a data chip containing access codes and ownership documents. As he walked toward the hangar, he could still hear aliens laughing behind him. The UESS Indomitable, that was the ship's name according to the documents, sat alone in a corner of the auction hangar. Up close, it looked even worse. The hull was scarred, with weapon impacts. Several thruster ports were dark and dead. The main viewport was cracked. Marcus pressed his palm against the access panel, uploading his new credentials. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then, with a groan of ancient machinery, the boarding ramp lowered. The inside was pitch black. Marcus activated a glow stick and stepped aboard carefully. The corridor smelled of old metal and recycled air. Dust covered every surface. He made his way toward what he hoped was the bridge, his footsteps echoing in the darkness. The bridge was larger than expected. Designed for a crew of at least 20, command chairs sat empty. Their padding cracked and faded. Control panels were dark. Everything looked dead. Marcus sat in the captain's chair and laughed bitterly. 7 credits. I bought a tomb for 7 credits. Then, something hummed. Lights flickered on across the bridge, dim but growing stronger. Panels began to glow with soft blue light. Marcus jumped to his feet as systems awakened around him. A holographic figure materialized in front of the main viewport. A stern-looking man in an old Earth military uniform. His expression hard and intelligent. Scanning new presence. The hologram said in a gravelly voice, DNA confirmed. Species. Human. Authorization level. Command. Eligible. The holographic figure straightened and saluted. Guardian AI. UESS Indomitable. Reporting. New captain identified. What are your orders? Marcus stared, his mouth open. The ship wasn't dead. It had been waiting. For someone like him. Marcus couldn't stop staring at the holographic soldier standing before him. The AI looked so real, so solid, that he almost forgot it was just light and data. You're operational? Marcus asked, his voice shaky. The auctioneer said, all systems were dead. Incorrect assessment. Guardian replied, his arms clasped behind his back in military posture. The Indomitable entered hibernation protocol 7-3 Alpha. All non-essential systems were shut down to avoid detection and preserve core functions. I have been waiting for human command authorization for 197 years, 4 months, and 16 days. Marcus sat back down in the captain's chair, his legs suddenly weak. What happened to the original crew? Guardian's expression didn't change, but something in his tone softened. They died defending colony station Prosperity from hostile forces. Unknown attackers. The crew fought for 18 hours. When life support failed, Captain Rodriguez ordered me to seal the ship and wait. Wait for another human to find us. The weight of those words settled over Marcus like a blanket. Nearly 200 years. This ship had been floating alone. Waiting. While the galaxy forgot about it. Show me what we have, Marcus said quietly. Full inventory. Guardian nodded, and the main view screen came alive with data. Lists scrolled past weapon systems, armor specifications, engine capabilities. As Marcus read, his eyes grew wider. The armor wasn't just thick metal plates. It was something called reactive composite layering. Multiple thin sheets that could shift and adapt to absorb different types of energy weapons. The technical documents showed human engineers had created something that learned from each hit, becoming stronger against repeated attacks. This technology, Marcus whispered. This is more advanced than what the Vex-Ari use now. Correct, Guardian said with what might have been pride. Human engineering philosophy differs from galactic standard. Other species optimize for efficiency. Humans optimize for survival. The engines were equally impressive. A hybrid fusion antimatter system that could run on almost any fuel in emergency situations. Modern ships needed specific, expensive fuel types. The Indomitable could burn almost anything. Marcus spent hours exploring the ship with Guardian as his guide. The weapons were offline but intact plasma lances, kinetic railguns, and something called momentum torpedoes that used gravitational manipulation. The medical bay had equipment designed for multiple alien species, not just humans. The cargo holds were massive. This wasn't just a warship. It was a statement. Humans had built this to prove they belonged in the galaxy. A communication alert interrupted his thoughts. Marcus activated the console and saw an official message from Station Zenith 9 Authority. Attention owner of vessel lot 847. You are required to pay docking inspection fees of 15,000 credits within 24 hours, or your ship will be impounded. Marcus's heart sank. 15,000? That's impossible. Guardian's hologram flickered. This is not standard procedure. Station regulations require only 500 credits for inspection fees. Someone is manipulating the system. Before Marcus could respond, another message came through. This one was a private communication request from Lord Casix, the Pleiadian merchant who had mocked him at the auction. Marcus accepted the call. Casix's smooth face appeared on screen, his smile predatory. "Human Marcus Chen," Casix said warmly, though his eyes were cold. "I hope you're enjoying your purchase. I wanted to make you an offer 50,000 credits for that old ship. Generous, considering you paid only 7. "Not interested," Marcus said immediately. Casix's smile didn't waver. "I think you misunderstand your situation. You cannot afford the inspection fees. The station will seize your vessel. I'm offering you a way out." "How did you know about the fees already?" Marcus asked, suspicious. "Let's just say I have friends in station authority." Casix replied smoothly. "Think carefully. Human. 50,000 credits would change your life. That ship is worthless to you." Marcus ended the call without answering. His hands were shaking with anger. "Adder," Guardian spoke quietly. "Captain, I detect unauthorized access attempt at airlock 3. Marcus rushed to the security console. Camera feeds showed a small figure working on the external lock, someone trying to break in. "Activate defenses," Marcus ordered. "Non-lethal protocols only," Guardian confirmed. "Engaging." A pulse of sonic energy erupted from the airlock. The intruder collapsed, stunned, but alive. Marcus grabbed an emergency oxygen mask and went to investigate. The intruder was a young Vexari, her crystalline body pulsing with weak light. As she regained consciousness, she looked up at Marcus with what might have been fear. "Please," she said, her voice like breaking glass. "Don't kill me. Casix hired me. He wanted your ship's data core." Marcus helped her sit up. "Why does he want it so badly?" The Vexari, who introduced herself as Prism, took a shaky breath. "Because he knows what you don't. Casix collects lost human technology. Ships from your colony war era were built differently, creative, adaptable, breaking all the rules. He has 3 others already. Your ship is special, though. It's a prototype." "Prototype for what?" "For warships that think," Prism said. "Ships that bond with their captains. Technology that scared the galaxy so much, your own government shut down the project." Marcus looked back at the indomitable, understanding, dawning. Prism stood carefully. "You have maybe 24 hours before station security. Who work for Casix. Seize this ship legally. You can't pay the fees. You can't fight them." "Then what do I do?" Marcus asked. Prism's crystalline face shifted into something like a smile. "You run. And maybe. Let me help you. I want to see what this ship can really do." Marcus made his decision. "Guardian, prepare the ship for launch. We're leaving." "Finally," the AI responded. "A proper captain." Time was running out. Marcus and Prism worked frantically in the engine room, while Guardian coordinated their efforts through holographic displays that appeared wherever they needed them. "Engine power at 60%, Guardian announced. "Sufficient for departure, but not optimal for combat." "What about weapons?" Marcus asked, wiping sweat from his forehead. The ship's internal temperature was rising as dormant systems came online. Point defense cannons operational. Main plasma lances require isotope cells we don't have. Shields at 42% capacity. Prism connected another power relay, her crystalline fingers moving with precise speed. This ship is incredible. The power distribution system learns and adapts. I've never seen anything like it. Ludova, can we fly or not? Marcus pressed. Yes, Guardian confirmed. But I recommend against engaging multiple opponents. An alert screamed across all stations. Marcus rushed to the bridge and activated the external cameras. His stomach dropped. 5 station security ships had surrounded the Indomitable, their weapon ports glowing with ready energy. The communication channel crackled to life. Unregistered vessel, you are ordered to power down immediately. You have violated Station Ordinance 47 and must submit to impound procedures. Marcus recognized the voice, a station security commander, who was definitely on Cassix's payroll. Another channel opened. Lord Cassix appeared on the view screen, his expression smug. This is your last chance, human. Surrender the ship now, and I'll be generous. Refuse, and you'll face charges of theft and piracy. Marcus's hands gripped the control console. Every instinct told him to give up. He was one human with a barely functional ship against the entire station authority. But he looked at the determined hologram of Guardian standing beside him, at Prism, who had chosen to help him, and at the scarred hull of a ship that had waited 2 centuries for this moment. Guardian, Marcus said quietly. Unlock all manual controls. I'm flying this thing myself. Confirmed, Captain. May I suggest extreme caution? Too late for that? Marcus activated the intercom. Prism, strap in. This is going to get rough. His fingers danced across the control panel, entering the undocking sequence. The Indomitable's engines roared to life with a sound like thunder. The docking clamps held firm. They were designed to keep ships secure even against resistance. Breaking docking clamps without authorization is a severe violation, Guardian noted. Add it to the list, Marcus muttered. He pushed the throttle to maximum. The Indomitable lurched forward. Metal screamed as the docking clamps bent and then snapped. Alarms wailed across the station. The massive warship pulled free and accelerated into open space. All security vessels, engage, the commander ordered. 3 sleek corvettes broke formation and pursued. They were modern ships, fast, maneuverable, and deadly. The Indomitable was larger and older, like a bear being chased by wolves. Energy bolts flashed past the viewport. One hit the rear shields, which flared bright blue and held. Shields at 38%, Guardian reported calmly. At current rate of fire, shield failure in 4 minutes. Can we outrun them? Marcus asked, already knowing the answer. Negative. Their maximum velocity exceeds ours by 18%. The corvettes closed in, forming a triangle pattern around the Indomitable. More weapons fire struck the hull. Marcus felt each impact through the deck plating. Prism's voice came through the intercom. We can't take much more of this. Marcus's mind raced. Modern tactics wouldn't work. Those corvette pilots had been trained at military academies. They knew every standard maneuver. But the Indomitable wasn't a standard ship. Guardian. What would the original crew have done? The AI paused for less than a second. Captain Rodriguez preferred unconventional tactics. His favorite was designated Rolling Maneuver Delta 7. However, it requires precise timing and trust in the ship's armor integrity. Show me. A tactical display appeared, showing the maneuver in detail. Marcus's eyes widened. It was insane. It was perfect. Do it, he ordered. Transferring all shield power to front armor section, Guardian said. Executing roll. The Indomitable suddenly rotated, presenting its thickly armored dorsal section to the corvettes. At the same moment, Marcus fired the braking thrusters at full power. The massive ship slowed dramatically. The corvettes, moving at high speed, couldn't adjust in time. They shot past the Indomitable, their weapons' fire now bouncing harmlessly off the reinforced armor. Now! Guardian shouted. Marcus triggered the point defense cannons. The automated systems, programmed by human gunners 200 years ago, tracked and fired with devastating precision. Not at the Corvette hulls, but at their engine nacelles. Explosions bloomed in space. The 3 Corvettes spun out of control, their engines disabled, but crews intact. Marcus allowed himself a breath of relief. Then, proximity alarms screamed again. A new ship appeared on sensors, much larger than the Corvettes. A Corum war frigate, its hull covered in weapon batteries. This wasn't station security. This was a mercenary warship. Cassix hired muscle, Prism said, her voice tight with fear. The frigate's weapons powered up. Guardian ran calculations. Captain, we cannot survive engagement with that vessel. Our shields are too weak. Main weapons are offline. Recommendation: surrender. Marcus stared at the approaching warship. His ship was damaged, outgunned, and nearly helpless. Running would just delay the inevitable. Guardian, he said slowly. You mentioned the original captain. What mission was the Indomitable on when the crew died? Classified mission. Exploring the Maelstrom sector. Marcus knew that name. Every spacer did. The Maelstrom sector was a region of unstable space where quantum fields collapsed randomly. Ships that entered never came back. It was considered a death zone. But the Indomitable survived it once, Marcus said. Affirmative. We were the only ship to successfully navigate the Maelstrom and return. The Corum frigate was closing fast. Marcus made his choice. Set course for the Maelstrom sector. Full speed. Captain, that is suicide, Gordian protested. Maybe, Marcus agreed. But it's our kind of suicide. Human suicide. Let's see if these mercenaries are brave enough to follow. The Indomitable turned and accelerated toward the most dangerous region of space in the sector. Behind them, the Corum war frigate hesitated for only a moment before pursuing. Into the storm they went. The boundary of the Maelstrom sector appeared on the view screen like a wall of twisted light. Space itself seemed to ripple and tear, colors bleeding into each other in ways that hurt to look at. Marcus had seen images before, but nothing prepared him for the reality. Final warning, human vessel, the Corum frigate captain transmitted. Turn back now, or you will die. There is no escape through the Maelstrom. Marcus didn't answer. He gripped the controls tighter and pushed the Indomitable forward. The moment they crossed the boundary, everything changed. The ship shook violently. Alarms blared from every station. A gravitational wave hit them from the side, throwing Marcus against his restraints. The lights flickered. Metal groaned under impossible stress. Hull stress at 60%. Guardian announced, his calm voice a sharp contrast to the chaos. Quantum field fluctuation detected. Adjusting course. Through the viewport, Marcus saw space doing things space shouldn't do. A star appeared to his left, then vanished. An asteroid field materialized directly ahead, then twisted into nothing. Reality was breaking down. The Corum frigate has followed us in, Prism reported from the engineering station, her crystalline body pulsing with anxious light. Wait! They're in trouble! Marcus checked the sensors. The frigate's engines were failing. Their navigation system couldn't handle the constantly shifting gravitational fields. Modern ships relied on precise calculations and automated systems. In chaos, precision was useless. Another massive wave of spatial distortion hit them. The Indomitable rolled hard to port. Warning lights covered every panel. Gordian, how did the original crew survive this? Marcus shouted over the noise. They didn't rely on calculations, the AI responded. Captain Rodriguez used manual piloting, human intuition, pattern recognition instead of mathematical precision. You're saying I should just feel my way through? Affirmative. The Maelstrom cannot be predicted. It can only be experienced and adapted to. Marcus took a deep breath and switched off the automated navigation. His hands moved to the manual flight controls, actual physical joysticks that seemed ancient compared to modern touch interfaces. A radiation burst erupted to starboard. Marcus yanked the controls, dodging on instinct. The ship responded smoothly, its old mechanical systems more reliable than electronic precision in this impossible environment. "That's it," Prism called out. "The ship is designed for this. Manual control, human reflexes, adaptive response." They flew deeper into the maelstrom. Marcus stopped trying to understand what he was seeing and just reacted. When space twisted left, he rolled right. When gravity pulled down, he climbed. It was like surfing a wave made of breaking reality. Behind them, the Coram frigate was falling apart. "Detecting a stable zone ahead," Gordian announced. "Quantum field pocket. Gravity appears normal." Marcus aimed for it gratefully. The Indomitable burst through a final wall of distortion and into calm space. The shaking stopped. The alarms quieted. In front of them, floating in the peaceful bubble of stability, was a structure. A space station. Old and dark, but intact. "Scanning," Guardian said. His hologram flickered with what might have been surprise. "Captain, that station is human. Identification code matches. Site, Prometheus." This was a classified research facility from the Colony War era. "What were they researching?" Marcus asked. "Information is restricted, but..." Gordian paused. Site Prometheus was listed as the origin point for the Indomitable class design program. Marcus felt his pulse quicken. "This is where they built ships like yours?" "Where they designed them, yes. Captain, if the research data is still intact, he didn't need to finish." Marcus understood. This station held the secrets of how the Indomitable was made. Technology, the galaxy, had forgotten. Technology that could change everything. "Prism, can you dock us?" "Already on it," she replied. The Vex Ari worked the controls with expert precision, guiding the Indomitable toward the station's docking port. They suited up and crossed through the airlock. The station's interior was dark, but intact, preserved perfectly in the maelstrom's stable pocket. Emergency lights flickered on as they moved through corridors, responding to their presence. Guardian's hologram projected from Marcus's suit computer. "Main database should be in the central research lab. This way." They founded a massive room filled with holographic displays and data storage units. When Marcus activated the main console, files began appearing. Weapons specifications, armor designs, engine schematics, AI bonding protocols. Everything needed to build ships like the Indomitable. Ships that worked with their crews, instead of just for them. Ships designed for survival through adaptation, rather than efficiency. "This is worth millions," Prism whispered. "Billions. Maybe. Every government in the galaxy would want this." Marcus began downloading the data to the Indomitable's systems. Progress bar crept upward, 20%, 40%, 60%. Then alarm screamed. "Multiple ships entering the maelstrom," Gordian announced. "Sensors detect 6 vessels. Configuration matches Cassix's mercenary fleet." Marcus ran to a viewport. Through the swirling chaos of the maelstrom, he could see ship lights approaching. They were struggling, clearly suffering damage, but they were coming anyway. "How did they find us?" Prism asked. "They followed our engine trail through the distortions," Guardian explained. "Risky, but possible. They will reach this stable zone in approximately 8 minutes. The download was only at 70%. They needed more time." Marcus looked at the old research station, at the Indomitable docked beside it, and at the approaching lights of enemy ships. 6 against 1. His ship was still damaged, weapons were limited, and they were trapped in a pocket of calm, surrounded by deadly chaos. But the humans who built this place had designed the Indomitable to face impossible odds. They had created something that could adapt, survive, and fight when everything else failed. "Gordian," Marcus said, "can we use the station's old fabricators to install any of these prototype upgrades?" The AI calculated. "Some systems, yes. We have 1 hour before they arrive if we work fast." "Then we don't run," Marcus decided. "We make our stand here." Prism's crystalline face showed something like admiration. "You humans really are crazy." "Yeah," Marcus agreed, pulling up the weapons specifications. "That's kind of our thing." Quote, "Where along?" 45. They had 1 hour to turn a damaged warship into something that could face a fleet. The clock was ticking. The next hour was a blur of desperate activity. Marcus and Prism ran between the station's fabricators and the Indomitable's weapon systems, installing upgrades that were 200 years old, but still more advanced than anything in current use. Guardian coordinated everything, his hologram appearing in multiple locations simultaneously. Plasma lance capacitors at 70%, momentum shields online, armor reinforcement, complete on starboard sections only we're out of time. Through the viewport, Marcus could see the mercenary fleet emerging from the Maelstrom's chaos. 6 ships, battered but functional. They formed a semicircle around the stable zone, cutting off any escape route. "They're hailing us," Prism said quietly. Marcus accepted the communication. Lord Cassix's face appeared on the screen, and for the first time, the Pleiadian merchant wasn't smiling. He looked angry. "You've cost me 3 corvettes, considerable money, and my patience," Cassix said coldly. "Surrender the ship and the research data. I'll let you and the Vex Ari leave alive." Marcus glanced at the weapons console. The newly installed plasma lances glowed with ready power. The shields were stronger than before, reinforced with prototype technology. But 6 ships were still 6 ships. "This is human technology," Marcus replied. "Built by humans, for humans. It's not for sale." Cassix's expression hardened. "Then you'll die protecting junk." "Attack formation." The 6 mercenary ships moved forward, weapons charging. Marcus cut the transmission and turned to his crew. "Prism, route all power to weapons and shields. Guardian, target their engine systems. I want them disabled, not destroyed." "Understood, Captain," the AI responded. "Engaging combat protocols from the Rodriguez manual. Preparing for unconventional warfare." The first barrage of energy fire lit up the darkness. The Indomitable's new shields absorbed the impacts. The prototype momentum technology, redirecting kinetic energy away from the hull. But the ship shuddered under the assault. "Returning fire," Marcus announced. The plasma lances fired not the weak energy weapons common in the galaxy, but concentrated human-designed beams that cut through modern shields like paper. 2 mercenary ships broke formation, their shields collapsing. "They weren't expecting that," Prism said with satisfaction. But the other 4 ships adjusted quickly, spreading out and attacking from multiple angles. The Indomitable rocked under coordinated fire. "Shields at 50%, Guardian warned. "We cannot sustain this." Marcus's mind raced. The Maelstrom swirled around their stable pocket, deadly and chaotic. An idea formed crazy, dangerous, and completely human. "Guardian, can we destabilize this pocket? Make the safe zone collapse? Temporarily?" "Theoretically, yes, by overloading the station's gravity stabilizers, but we would be caught in the collapse as well." But the Indomitable survived the Maelstrom before. Those other ships barely made it through once. Can we handle it better than them? The AI processed for a moment. Probability of our survival, 63%. Probability of enemy survival, 12%. I'll take those odds. Marcus targeted the station's stabilizer array. "Everyone, hold on." He fired. The stabilizers exploded in a cascade of energy. Immediately, The calm pocket began to collapse. Space twisted and bent. Gravitational waves crashed into all 7 ships simultaneously. The mercenary vessels panicked. Their automated systems tried to calculate safe routes, but the chaos changed faster than they could process. 2 ships collided as space warped between them. Another spun wildly, its engines failing. Marcus gripped the manual controls and flew on pure instinct. The Indomitable twisted and rolled, following patterns only a human mind could see in the chaos. Guardian fed him suggestions. But ultimately, it was Marcus's hands on the controls, his reflexes making split-second decisions. A mercenary ship appeared directly ahead, disabled and drifting. Marcus dove under it. Another ship fired, blindly. The shot went wide, as gravity bent it away. "You're doing it," Prism shouted. "You're flying through the impossible." Then, Marcus saw an opportunity. One mercenary ship was struggling near a spatial anomaly. He maneuvered the Indomitable close and used the tractor beam to grab a piece of station debris. With a pulse of energy, he flung it toward the anomaly. The debris hit the warped space and was accelerated to incredible speed. It slammed into the mercenary ship's engine section. The ship went dark, disabled, but intact. One by one, the mercenary fleet fell. Not destroyed, Marcus kept his word about that, but crippled and helpless in the Maelstrom's grip. Then something unexpected happened. The largest remaining ship, a Corum war frigate, opened a communication channel. A massive 4-armed warrior appeared on screen. "Human Captain," the Corum said, his voice filled with respect. "I am Captain Throck. I contracted with Cassix for retrieval, not for honorable combat against worthy opponents. You fight with courage. You use your ship as a true warrior does." He paused. "I withdraw from this battle. My honor demands it." The Corum frigate powered down its weapons and retreated into the Maelstrom. That left only 2 ships, both heavily damaged and trying to flee. Marcus let them go. He had won. As the battle ended, Marcus allowed the station's backup stabilizers to restore calm to the pocket. The Indomitable floated among the debris, scarred but victorious. "Damage report," Marcus asked. "Exhausted. Hull integrity at 71%. Shields recharging. All critical systems functional," Guardian reported. Then, in a softer tone, "Captain." The original crew would have been proud. 3 days later, Marcus docked at a proper commercial station. He had the Indomitable officially registered as a salvage and exploration vessel. When the registration clerk asked for the ship's estimated value, Marcus smiled. 7 credits, he said. The clerk looked confused but entered the number. Prism had decided to stay on as chief engineer. Together, they began planning their next move, searching for other lost human sites, recovering forgotten technology, and proving that human innovation still had value in the galaxy. Word spread quickly. The human who bought a worthless ship for 7 credits and defeated a mercenary fleet. Other humans began reaching out, asking to join the crew. Even some aliens applied, curious about human methods. As the Indomitable prepared to depart on its first official mission, Marcus stood on the bridge with Guardian's hologram beside him. "You know," the AI said, "when I went into hibernation, I worried humanity had lost its edge. That peaceful times had made humans soft. And now?" Marcus asked. Guardian's holographic face showed something that might have been a smile. "Now I know better. Humans don't need the best technology or the biggest ships. You make whatever you have into the best. You adapt. You survive. You win." Marcus powered up the engines. "Damn right. Now let's see what else this galaxy forgot to appreciate." The Indomitable jumped to hyperspace, carrying its human crew and AI companion toward new adventures a ship bought for 7 credits, worth more than the galaxy could imagine.